There's a kind of silence underground that doesn't exist anywhere else. A silence so thick it presses against your ears, swallowing every sound your body makes. Your heartbeat feels louder. Your breathing becomes something you suddenly notice. And every movement echoes in slow, dull vibrations through stone that has existed for millions of years. In November of 2009, the tunnels of Nutty Putty Cave held that silence, a silence that would soon become a coffin. The cave sat quietly in the Utah desert, hidden beneath a patch of land that looked completely ordinary. Scrub plants, dust, faint hills stretching toward a pale horizon. Nothing about the surface gave any hint of what waited below, a twisting labyrinth of narrow passages, tilted chambers, squeezed corridors, and tunnels so tight you could barely move your chest to breathe. People had explored it for years. They knew it was dangerous. They knew its name meant trouble. But they also knew that danger draws curiosity like a magnet. On November 24th, John Jones entered the cave with 11 friends and family members. John wasn't reckless. He was an experienced spelunker, strong, calm, careful. A father, a husband, a medical student. He was visiting his family for Thanksgiving, and the trip into the cave was supposed to be nothing more than an evening adventure. Before entering, the group took one last breath of desert air. The sun had already dipped behind the horizon, leaving only a faint orange glow. Then they stepped inside, switching on their headlamps one by one. Thick darkness swallowed their light as they descended. The walls were smooth and cold. Dust drifted in the beams of their lamps. The floor sloped down gently, guiding them deeper and deeper. The air grew heavier with every step. Caves don't welcome you. They don't reject you either. They just exist, ancient and different. John moved confidently through the first chambers. He had done this before, crawling, sliding, squeezing, each movement deliberate, each turn precise. The group followed, trusting his experience. They reached a passage known as the Scout Trap. Narrow, awkward, but manageable. John believed the tunnel he was entering next was a famous birth canal, a tight passage that opened into a larger chamber. A difficult squeeze, but doable. He lowered himself headfirst into the crevice. But the birth canal wasn't where he was. Instead, he had found a different passage, one that looked similar, angled similarly, but was not meant for crawling. A tunnel, so narrow even the cave maps barely acknowledged it. A passage that dipped sharply downward. A passage that should never have been entered. John slid in, chest against stone, arms pinned against the sides. Gravity pulled him deeper. His feet couldn't find support. His body slipped further into the unknown. And then he stopped, stuck, completely immobilized. The rock pressed against his ribs so tightly he could barely inflate his lungs. His arms were trapped beneath him. His head pointed downward, angled at almost 90 degrees. Blood rushed to his head, pounding mercilessly behind his eyes. His chest could expand only a few centimeters. He tried to move. He couldn't. He tried to push. Nothing. He exhaled, hoping the small reduction in chest size would help him slide backward. Instead, he sank deeper. When his brother Josh reached him, John's voice echoed weakly through the rock. "Help me? I can't move." Josh's light shone on an opening barely big enough to fit a head. John was wedged beyond it, his body bent, compressed, locked into stone that did not forgive mistakes. Josh tried to pull him, tried to lift him, tried to wedge a strap beneath his arms. Every attempt made the situation worse. John gasped, "Don't leave me," and Josh reassured him he wouldn't. Even as the truth settled in the cave, John was trapped in one of the tightest positions a human body could survive. At 12:30 a.m., rescuers began arriving. Dozens, then more. Experts in cave rescue, the best in the region. They brought drills, pulleys, anchors, ropes, medical equipment. The air in the cave filled with the metallic smell of tools, sweat, and fear. For 15 hours, they worked. Rescuers crawled one by one into the tiny crevice where John was trapped. They spoke calmly to him, asked him questions, encouraged him to breathe slowly, to stay conscious. They wrapped straps around his body and tried to pull him upward. The rope tightened. His body moved slightly. Hope flickered. And then the anchor, a crucial bolt drilled into the cave wall, snapped. The sudden release of tension sent John falling back into the crevice. Even deeper than before, his breathing quickened, his voice weakened, blood continued rushing to his head. Gravity punished him relentlessly. A paramedic managed to reach him, crawling upside down into the suffocating space. She spoke softly to him in the darkness. "John, we're gonna get you out. Stay with me." He whispered prayers, asked about his wife, his unborn daughter. He tried to stay awake, tried to stay hopeful. But the human body is not designed to hang upside down for hours. Blood pooled in his organs, his heart strained, his lungs fought for oxygen that could no longer reach them efficiently. He was slipping. Above ground, rescue vehicles and floodlights illuminated the desert night. Reporters waited behind tape lines. Families prayed. Rescuers worked until exhaustion blurred their vision. But the cave remained silent. Shortly before midnight on November 25th, John Jones slipped into unconsciousness. His heart stopped soon after. The cave had claimed him. The rescuers could not retrieve his body. The passage was too narrow, too dangerous, too unstable. Any attempt risked another life. And so the decision was made his body would remain there, sealed permanently. Nutty Putty Cave was closed forever, filled with concrete, transformed into a tomb. The desert above it returned to silence, wind brushing over sand, stars unmoving in the sky, nothing on the surface, hinting at the tragedy buried below. But caves remember, stone remembers, and anyone who enters tight spaces underground now knows the story of John Jones, the man who became trapped in a place that offered no mercy, no escape, no second chances. He went in searching for adventure. He found darkness, stillness, an ancient world that does not bend for human will. The most dangerous cave on earth isn't the deepest. It isn't the longest. It isn't the hottest or the coldest. It is the one that lets you think you can conquer it right before it takes everything away.